Today's skill in learning with Lisa is least common multiple. Least common multiple is sometimes also known as least common denominator. Least common multiple is useful when you are working with fractions and you need to add, subtract, or compare. You need to have a common denominator or the same denominator for both fractions before you can add, subtract, or compare the fractions. So least common multiple is sometimes represented by LCM. Least means the smallest, common means it's the same for both, and multiple means it's a number you get when you multiply or skip count. So least common multiple is the smallest number you can get when you multiply that is the same for both. So let's start with two fractions that I want to add. We're going to do 3/8 plus 1/3. Now I can't add these fractions right now because the denominators are different. So I'm going to use least common multiple of both denominators to find a common denominator. In order to do that, I have a system that I use. I write LCM in the corner, least common multiple, and I'm going to check off each one as I go. This time I like to use a sideways t-chart and put both denominators in my t-chart. So 8 will go on the top and 3 will go on the bottom. Before I start filling in my t-chart, I like to put an extra line at the top to help me remember what I'm multiplying by. So I'm going to multiply by 1, then 2, then 3, and so on. And I can go up as high as the highest number that I'm using in my t-chart. So I won't need to go any higher than 8, so I'll stop there. When I start finding the multiples, I usually use the smallest number first. So I'm going to find multiples of 3 first. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 5 is 15. 3 times 6 is 18. 3 times 7 is 21. And 3 times 8 is 24. Now I'm going to stop because I've gotten all the way up to 8, and 8 is my other number. Now I'm going to do multiples of 8 until I see something that is the same or a common multiple. So 8 times 1 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. 8 times 3 is 24. And I'm just going to stop right there because I can see that I have a common multiple. So I've done multiples. I have one that is common. And I haven't gone any farther to find other common multiples, so I know that is my smallest or least common multiple. So 24 is my least common multiple. I can use 24 to help me add my fractions. Now that I know that my least common multiple is 24, I'm going to write it up here. Erase my t-chart so I have some space. Now I can do 3/8 plus 1/3. And I'm going to find equivalent fractions using my least common multiple as my denominator. So 3/8, if I use 24 as my denominator, I know that I multiplied 8 times 3 to get 24. If I still had my chart up here, I could see at the top what I multiplied by. 8 times 3 is 24, and now I need to multiply my numerator also by 3. So 3 times 3 is 9. An equivalent fraction is 9/24. Now I can find another fraction with the same denominator, and then I can add. So I need to use 24 again as my denominator, and to get 24 using 3, I need to multiply by 8. 3 times 8 is 24. I need to multiply my numerator also by 8, and 1 times 8 is 8. Now I can add because I have 9/24 and 8/24. 9 plus 8 is 17, and my denominator stays the same. So my answer is 17/24. We're going to do one more example. And this time we are going to subtract. We're going to subtract 3/4 minus 3/10. I'm going to write LCM in the corner, least common multiple, and I'm going to make my T-chart with my denominators. So one denominator is 4, and the other denominator is 10. Multiply by 1, by 2, by 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm just going to stop there for now. If I need to add more later, I can. And I'm going to start with my small number. 4 times 1 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, 4 times 3 is 12, 4 times 4 is 16, 4 times 5 is 20, and I know that 20 is a multiple of 10, so I'm just going to stop. I could go on, but there's really no need to do that. So now I can find multiples of 10. 10 times 1 is 10, 10 times 2 is 20, 10 times 3 is 30, 10 times 4, oh, I can stop. Look what I already have a common multiple. And the first one that I find is going to be my least common multiple because it's the smallest. So 20 is my least common multiple. And now I can use 20 to subtract my fractions. 3/4 minus 3/10. Okay, I'm going to find equivalent fractions with 20 as my denominator. Okay, so to get from 4 to 20, I need to multiply by 5. So I'll need to also multiply my numerator by 5. 3 times 5 is 15, so my first fraction is 15/20. And my second fraction, the denominator was 10. I'm moving to 20, so I need to multiply by 2. And 3 times 2 is 6, so 6 is my numerator. Now I'm working with 15/20 minus 16/20. 15 minus 6 is 9, and my denominator will stay the same, so my answer is 9/20. And that is how you find least common multiple and use least common multiple to add and subtract fractions. Thank you for watching Learning with Lisa today, and you can subscribe by pushing the subscribe button below your viewing screen.